So who is Klaus Schwab exactly? So, I haven't personally investigated Klaus Schwab, but a contributor to Unlimited Hangout, my website, named Johnny Vedmore, also an investigative journalist, dug very deeply into Klaus Schwab and his family history and his early history and the early history of the World Economic Forum itself. So what's important to know here is that Klaus Schwab's father was a man named Eugene Schwab during World War II. Eugene Schwab was running the Ravensburg branch of a company called Escher Weiss, which was, among other things, producing different aspects or different components needed by the Nazi war machine, and perhaps most critically, aspects of the Nazi atomic bomb program. So right before Klaus Schwab became involved with the company his father was affiliated with and was, affiliated with the apartheid regime in South Africa and their nuclear ambitions, Klaus Schwab had attended an international seminar at Harvard University where his mentor, he was introduced to his mentor, Henry Kissinger. And that particular seminar that Schwab attended, Kissinger's international seminar at Harvard, was later revealed to have been heavily funded by the Central Intelligence Agency. So it's very relevant that Klaus Schwab was essentially recruited by Kissinger at an intelligence-linked seminar at Harvard, which has, again, historical links with the American oligarchy and the intelligence apparatus. After that point, in the early 70s, Klaus Schwab creates the World Economic Forum. He does this, again, with people somewhat in the Kissinger network. People like John Kenneth Galbraith and Herman Kahn, who later becomes a prominent figure at the Hudson Institute, a pretty well-known think tank in D.C. that's rather hawkish. And so what's odd about that is that John Kenneth Galbraith, Kahn, and also Kissinger were considered among the preeminent experts at this period of time of thermonuclear war and its consequences. And, that's rather interesting when you consider the affiliation of Schwab and his father with some of these atomic bomb programs historically. And then beyond that, some of the earliest affiliations with the World Economic Forum were with members of an organization called the Club of Rome, which historically has been affiliated with neo-Malthusianism and the idea of population control, which of course intersects very much with Henry Kissinger himself. People that are familiar with Kissinger's history will know that while he was a Secretary of State, he was responsible for creating what is colloquially remembered as the Kissinger Report, but was essentially describing how population growth in the global South was a threat to U.S. national security and called for efforts to be made, both overt and covert, to reduce the size of populations in the global South. So the Club of Rome and its neo-Malthusian connections are relevant in that sense, given the overlap with Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum with both of those worlds and those similar, rather eugenicist policies. So essentially, the Club of Rome and its flagship paper, The Limits of Growth, were a subject of intense focus at the earliest World Economic Forum meetings. Of course, at that point, the World Economic Forum was not called as such. It was originally founded as the European Management Symposium and subsequently became the World Economic Forum.